Hi, I'm Alyssa, the head of content at Content at Scale. I'm here to teach you a bite-sized lesson on the craft framework. And today I am talking about the A in craft, adding visuals. So this is another one of those content topics that seems simple on the surface, but is a bit more complex than you'd think. Visuals, images, and media can do a lot of work in your content piece. The obvious purpose is to break up the text so it's easier to read, but the deeper purpose is to add more meaning and context to your content. And I can't emphasize this enough. Images are also another trust builder. If you use crappy or generic images, they will reflect poorly on your content and your brand. Think about this. The human brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text. That's crazy, crazy difference. So it's important to do this part of craft right. And before I get into the tutorial, I want to mention that we're going to start creating blog posts to accompany these video tutorials. They will have a breakdown of what I did in each video plus examples, so be sure to check it out. And you'll find all of them at the Content at Scale blog, which is contentatscale.ai/blog under the category AIO craft writing tutorials. And we don't have any published yet, so there are none here, but we'll have them very, very soon. So with that said, let's talk about adding visuals to AI content. So before I get into good practices for adding images, I need to address the elephant in the room, which is unedited stock photos. So I have a strong dislike of stock photos in content. They're generic at best and irrelevant at worst. The best that can be said for them is that they break up the text in your content. Most of the time, they add nothing else. And if I never saw another generic stock photo of a random person typing on a laptop, I would be ecstatic. If you want to use them for your header images or your thumbnails, that's fine. But honestly, in your content, I think it's better to be more creative. Yes, it is more work. But remember, every part of your blog contributes to the trust you build overall. That includes the images. So I'm not going to discuss every type of image today or every type of opportunity where you can add an image. I'm just going to talk about one or two specific cases, and I'm going to show you that by adding some to this blog you see on the screen. This is a blog about Project Magi, which is Google's new AI-powered search engine currently in development. It was a big deal when news of this dropped. So we created a blog for the Content at Scale site that kind of discussed what was happening. And there are some good opportunities in this blog to add some images. So the first one I want to show you is right here. Cass added this statistic right here about Bing. Bing search has already seen a 25% growth in monthly page visits after the integration of ChatGPT and GPT-4. So I went ahead and I found a source for this statistic. I went to Google. I searched for Bing search 25% growth in monthly page visits. I checked out a couple of these results and I found that SimilarWeb had the information and kind of the visualization that I was looking for, because this statistic would be a lot more powerful if we could see it visualized. And that's a great way to judge whether you need an image or not. You should look for statistics that would benefit from being illustrated for the reader so they can better understand the relationship between numbers, or if in this case, so they can better understand what 25% growth looks like for monthly page visits. Otherwise, I think this is a good stat, but it's not necessarily like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Like, if we could visualize this a little more, I think it has more impact. So I found the source for this right here, but the information right here is not an image. And so I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I will do that with this tool called Nimbus. And it has a little browser extension that you can click, and then you can choose the type of screenshot you want to take. And I'm going to choose selected area. And then you'll see this little plus sign cursor appear, and you can just highlight the part of the screen you want to screenshot. And then I'm going to hit this little pencil icon to edit it. You'll see a new window pops up with all these editing options. And I think to highlight the stat I'm talking about in my text, I want to go ahead and draw the reader's eye to this in particular. So I will draw a little red box around it, just so when you glance at this image, you're immediately drawn to this information. Even though I do like these little bar graphs that show the change as well, but this is the main piece of information I want to draw attention to. So I'll highlight that. I'll click done, and then I can go ahead and click this button to save this as an image to my computer. And then I can go back into Content at Scale. I can create a placeholder for the image. I can go to the tools. In the third group, you'll find the Insert Image button. If you click it, you've got two options. You can upload or insert it by URL. I created the image, so I can upload it. So I will grab the image where it's saved on my computer. I will drag it over to this box, drop it in, let it upload, and then I've already got the stat from this website linked right here. It's from SimilarWeb. And then another good practice is to go underneath the image, and you can either add a caption or you can just center some text and mention the image source. So I'm going to say screenshot from SimilarWeb. And so we've got the link, we've got the screenshot, we've got the attribution, and that's all you need to do. And for reference, for most screenshots, you don't have to ask permission. Most websites these days want to get more visibility in this way. They want you sharing their images. They want you linking to them in your content. They want you mentioning them. This is visibility for them. So we don't need to ask permission to insert a screenshot from their website, since we're giving them a link here, and that's a good thing. So that's one way to add an image. And another way that is only really useful for specific brands is if you have a voice or tone that's more irreverent or witty or funny, jokey. If those describe your brand voice at all, consider using GIFs or GIFs in your content. A well-chosen, well-placed GIF can kind of help add personality to your posts. Don't spam your posts with GIFs, but use them very sparingly. I would say no more than once per post, and use them in the right places. So for instance, in this post, we mentioned the widespread internal panic at Google when Samsung announced they might not be using Google search as the default in their devices anymore. And Google panicked. So it might be kind of fun to emphasize Google's panic with a GIF. And so I went ahead and went to Google image search. I searched for panic GIF, and there's millions of options. I personally think this one is a good one to use. When I think about Google panicking in their little sprint rooms and running to create their AI integrated search engine, this is what I imagine them running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to save this to my computer. And then I can go to insert image in content at scale. I can drag and drop. Wait for it to upload. And then I think this is a little large. So I'm going to go to the ruler icon and change the size. I think I'm just going to change the width to 300 pixels. I'll leave the height as auto so this doesn't distort the image when I resize it. I'll hit update. And then the GIF is resized and it emphasizes widespread internal panic at Google. Okay, so that's adding images, though that's a couple of good examples of finding opportunities to add them based on your brand voice and tone, based on examples you can add. For more, subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch the next craft training, and check out our blog because we'll have those blog posts that go with each tutorial up very, very soon. And come back next week because we publish one bite-sized lesson every week.